Hey guys, I'm just out doing a little hiking and a little photography with these new Gen 4 bush hunters. And on the left is the Gen 4. And on the right is actually one of my Gen 2s. It's the one I've used a lot in class and other training. So it's just kind of been a workhorse, but you can kind of see that thing's pretty big and chunky compared to this one. A little more streamlined, I guess. And so the overall profile from the Gen 3 to the Gen 4 didn't change. This is a Gen 2. And then the Gen 3s have the exact same profile, but they're made out of 5/32, and this is 1/8 inch steel. And then I've also milled the tangs on these to reduce the weight further, and so they're considerably lighter than the Gen 3. This setup over here with the sheath is 17 ounces. This setup is just a hair over 10. So I shaved about a little over 40% off. I pretty much put the Gen 4s on Ozempic and got them to drop a lot of weight. And I've actually been wearing this knife just like it is, just on my pants belt, as I've been hiking and did some running actually. Just packing around 30-30 with me as I kind of hike up and down this little ridge and along this creek bottom. And like I said, did some running for a couple 100 yards, and just to see, how this setup rides compared to this one. And honestly, this one is so much lighter. This one you feel like you're wearing a tool. Like, you can feel it. There's a lot of weight there, 17 ounces on your belt. And that's not including a ferro rod either, because this has the ferro rod pouch on it. And so, you notice it, but you kind of just justify it in your mind and be like, well, it's my belt knife. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And it's really not. I've slept with this thing on. It's not the end of the world. But if I can be more efficient, I definitely want to be. And this one, it just rides so much nicer. It really hugs your body, where this one over here, let's see if I can kind of show you guys a side profile. You can just see how much bulkier the one on the right is. And this one, the new one, just hugs in tight to your body, where this one kind of sticks out. And then of course, if you add a pouch to the front, then there's even more bulk. And so this morning I went ahead and weighed my personal Line 1 kit, which is plussed up. It's got some extra stuff in it compared to the ones I sell in the store. But I weighed that, and with a bongo compass pouch and some malice clips, it's like 4.5 ounces. So you can figure on adding about 4 to 4.5 ounces to this overall setup, if that's the route you want to go, which that would give you a very robust system, right? I mean, you've got, of course, a very functional field knife, plus fire starting, water disinfection, navigation, whatever else you want to put in that Line 1 kit. And those bongo pouches are actually big enough. You can fit my Line 1 kit and a Mylar space blanket easily, a folded one. And so you got some shelter. I mean, it's really a very robust system if you've got some knowledge to put it to use. And so really happy with how these turned out. Even with a pouch and that Line 1 kit on here, if I add 5 ounces to this, I'm still 2 ounces less than this one without anything. And I've got all those bases covered. So really happy with how this redesign went. Like I said, whether I was running or walking, I actually had to stop and make sure that the knife was still there at one point, because you just don't notice it. It just rides so nice. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of put this quick video out for you guys, kind of see the differences, see what it is that I'm so excited about. I'm really happy with how these are turning out. I can't quit saying today for some reason, but I guess I can't really, I'm just thrilled with how these all turned out. When I put this, I finally got one of these completed and the sheath and put it on the scale, and it was like 10.16 ounces, I think. I was like, man, that is awesome. Like, I was really hoping to be down in that 10 ounce. Of course, I'd like to be a little lighter, and I think I've got a few ideas of things to try, but I think for the most part, these are going to end up between 10 and 11 ounces, depending on the handle material. And so this one is Dymalux, and this one is G10. Now, I weighed similarly sized blocks of Dymalux and G10 last night. G10's about 20% heavier than Dymalux or any of the canvas micarta that I had. The canvas micarta and the Dymalux were about the same weight. but the G10, like I said, was about 20% heavier. So granted, I mean, probably talking at most maybe a half an ounce heavier. So you're still probably under 11 ounces if with G10. So I don't think it's too big of a deal. And I've got, like I said, some other ideas on how I can probably reduce weight a little bit further. You know, we're talking maybe a few tenths of an ounce. Nothing that most of you guys are probably even going to care about, really. I know majority of you guys are probably thinking, what's all this talk of ounces and weight, you know, because you're probably packing a fighting rifle with 10 magazines already. Well, this is why, you know, a half a pound, you know, that's a significant amount of weight if you don't have to carry it, because that's an extra 8 ounces or 7 ounces of other stuff you can carry and, you know, be better off. It's a little extra food, it's a little extra water, or it's just less weight, and so you're burning less calories, so you're not as tired. And that's kind of why I use the word efficient. I'm not shooting for ultralight. I mean, 10 ounces is still, you know, incredibly heavy for ultralight people, but I'm not really worried about ultralight people. I build knives for the guys that are going out in the field and training and practicing and learning skills and hunting, you know, just like myself. So anyways, thanks for watching and have a good day.